I hit up a couple people. This is a thing that I feel very strongly about, that I think is really important,
Oh,
and it
okay. We're
enriches
digging right in. Let's do it.
it enriches your life. I think that if you have people in your life that you have not talked to in a long time, it's very important to just drop them a line out of nowhere. Be like, hey, I was thinking about you. Hope you're doing well. Or I was thinking about you. What are you up to? You know?
Right.
That way, I hope you've been well is not necessarily inviting a conversation. If you just want to put the good vibes out there, but you don't have time to like chat, that's an
Right.
option. Then also, what have you been up to? It does rekindle a little conversation. I think that then it lets people know, hey, doors open. I'm here right now to listen, chat, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was doing this with a friend, and she told me about a date that she went on. This is years ago, and we just got to talking, and she told me that she went on a date with this guy, and it was one of those things where it was like a date that was set up after a meet at a bar. Okay.
Okay.
So they meet at the bar, and like, it's loud, it's dark. It's like all of the recipes for a person to not come off like a monster unless they're an absolute monster.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Like all the work is being done for you right now. It's hard to hear you, it's hard to see you. Like if
you're getting away with a lot right now.
Yeah, if your drawing personality flaws still shine through, then you are a true monster.
Yeah. Yeah. Your terrible flaws are brighter than any light.
Yeah. You are dull. And so they get to talking. She's like, oh, okay, he's got like, I don't know, it's a little something about him. And he was looking a little nerdy, but she was like, it was in a cute way, not like a extra dweeby way or anything. And so she was like, okay, let me see what's up. And so he ends up asking her out. And so she's like, yeah, all right, sounds great. Let's meet up, in a couple days. They set the date for a couple days from when they met. Mm-hmm. And
his face still looked shadowy.
Yeah.
Like he still looks like he's in the dark.
My man just walks around with shadow constantly on his face. He got extra shadow. He's out here trying to be suave, really just being a demogorgon, It's terrifying. It's terrifying.
Yeah, just awful. Otherworldly, one could say.
Yeah, I rebuke you is what I would say if I saw him in person.
I rebuke you.
If
next date, I'm bringing an old priest and a young priest.
If I saw a man with mostly shadow on his well-lit face, I would slap him with an open Bible. And so basically what ends up happening is they meet up, and it's at this like Chinese restaurant, and he's like still a little nerdy, still a little like quiet and everything. And now she's like, oh, okay, maybe I was a little tipsy and he's more awkward than I remember. Like maybe I was giving him the benefit of the doubt because I was a little drunk, which
right, yeah.
Of course you were.
Yeah.
Of like, I feel like that's a
happens
given
to all of us, man. Yeah.
Yeah. And so basically he's like looking down a lot, and then he'll look up at her really quick, but then lose the courage to keep eye contact. And she was like, it was almost adorable. It was happening a lot to the point where it was like, I can see how some people wouldn't find it cute.
Right, yeah.
Because you're at the table with me. You're not looking across a room now. Like,
yeah.
Now you're looking at me and then looking at the tablecloth. It's like, oof.
And then you look down, you're like, damn, he has really cool shoes on. He just keeps looking at him. He's like, yeah. These are great.
Yeah. And so he starts asking her, questions about herself, her life and everything. Mm-hmm. She tells him where she works and what she does for a living. And then she starts to reciprocate asking those questions to him. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm really focusing on my art right now and everything. So I'm in between jobs and stuff. and she wishes. And and I'm living with some friends at the moment, just getting back on my feet and everything. Like
Yeah.
I make a little money doing odd jobs and with my art, and so I'm good. I'm like
Mm-hmm.
living. And she was actually taken aback and impressed by how content he seemed. Like, these are things that when someone answers, sometimes there's a little bit of shame involved. There's a little bit of
Right.
like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I'm doing my thing. I'm like,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
like, it was none of that. He was just like, yeah, I do my art. And it was actually the most confident the entire dinner that she had seen him was like,
Mm-hmm.
I do my art, and I'm putting things together and everything until I can have a come up and stuff. And she was like,
Right. Yeah.
oh, okay, wow, all right, that's really cool. And she finally asked him what his art was. This is like appetizers have come now, so they're like starting to kind of eat. But then she realizes she never actually asked him, and she was like, what's your art, by the way? And he smiles. And at first, it's like a. She said at first it was like a little smile, and then he couldn't help it. You could just see this like beaming smile burst through,
Mm-hmm.
which he also said was like very adorable when someone's just uncontrollably happy,
Right. Yeah.
And he was like, well, I'd love to show you. And she was like,
Immediate alarm bells. Even if it's like, I made this movie and it's a big, beautiful movie, it's still just like when the response is, I could show you, is troubling.
Yeah. He's like,
troubling to say the least.
I'd love to show you. And she was like, oh, okay. Like, is it? And she's still thinking he's a painter, right? And she just assumed painter, because a lot of people, when you say your art, they assume
artist.
paint.
Yeah. They just assume, because that's what artist meant for a long time.
For a very long time.
But a bunch of other shit hadn't been invented yet.
Yeah. And so then she's like, oh wow, did you bring it here? He's like, I bring it everywhere with me. And and she's like, okay, what is it? And he's like, I have to show you. And he gets up, he walks, he leaves, right? And she's like a little bit taken aback, because now she's like, oh, okay. Like, I thought she was even saying she thought he meant, I have to show you like later at my place or something.
Right. Yeah.
And so she's sitting there. Like,
So he left the table.
Left the table.
Okay.
My man's gone.
I got my guesses, but
and she's like munching on a crab rangoon when this dude sits back down,
okay,
with a dummy in his lap.
Oh, it's better than I would have guessed. Oh, yes. Yes. Fuck yes. Oh, what'd that dummy say? What that?
with a dummy in his lap, going. Okay, wait. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can. Going. Nice to meet you.
Oh, it's like not good ventriloquism.
And not only is it not good, but this man's mouth can't stop moving.
Oh.
So instead of it being bad mumbled like ventriloquism, it's just him talking in a different voice while he doesn't make eye contact.
That's his art.
So he just looking down. He's just looking down the way he was when he was trying to be coy. And so he's looking down.
So you don't see his mouth.
So you don't see his mouth. Because if he tilts his head all the way down, it's like, where'd his mouth go?
Oh, I was not thinking ventriloquist. I'm so fucking happy. I was not thinking ventriloquist. Oh, boy.
It's so bad.
Would you like to join our thruple?
He's so bad at it, and it's fully his mouth could not be more open. It's actually like someone taught him the opposite of what ventriloquism is. His mouth is so open.
Or they just explained it to him conceptually, but no one showed him how to do it. They're like, yeah, but you make like the doll talk too. Got it. See you later. No, there's more. There's more.
When I tell you that she told me that his mouth went, not so many.
For the listener, Josh moved his whole mouth.
You could see all my teeth the way I moved my mouth just now.
You stuck your tongue out. That's how.
This dude is licking his lips bad at ventriloquism. He will never have a chapped lip while doing ventriloquism.
He's lip licking bad at ventriloquism.
This man will never need chapstick. He is so bad at ventriloquism. And so then she.
You keep going. Go ahead.
So then she's sitting there and she's like, oh. And she just says, oh. Like, oh, okay. Still trying to be polite, right? And then he is steadily, just like, so Mark told me a lot about you. And she's like,
he lets the fucking doll take over the date.
Hard.
Ooh. The title of this episode is going to be Logan's favorite thing ever. Oh man.
So Mark told me a lot about you. And this is just prepare yourself because it gets worse.
I'm so excited.
So then she's like, so Mark told me a lot about you.
The fucking voice, Josh.
He said that you were a beautiful woman. And he lied.
He's roasting it.
You are an incredibly beautiful woman.
Oh, okay. I was hoping it was going to turn to like the roast act with the ventriloquist dummy.
So then he's like, what do you do for a living? And just starts asking her all the questions that she just answered to him through the dummy.
Oh, he's like making her redo the date, but with the dummy.
She's just redoing the date to the dummy.
Oh, no, don't do that.
And so now she's like, I grew up at like, just like slowly giving him details like, oh, that's interesting. How are you liking your appetizer?
That's when you have to look at the guy and be like, I know he's not real. Like you can.
and then he goes,
God.
He goes, yeah, Mark's kind of quiet around beautiful women. Say something. He goes, wait, don't make me laugh. Wait, shut up. Wait. Okay, Mark's kind of Mark gets nervous around beautiful women. Say something, dummy. And then he's like, sometimes I don't know what to say.
Yes.
And then as he gets the doll to talk, this is how bad, just so we can also for the listener, once again, illustrate how bad this person is at ventriloquism. Right. Yeah. When the dummy goes to speak again, the dude controlling him, Mark's gum falls out of his mouth.
feel like that should be a pretty common. Like, don't chew something while you're doing ventriloquism.
I mean, when you're not doing it well, you can do whatever you want. And so then,
Oh my god.
and so then, one of the servers walks up to check on them, like, how they're liking their appetizer and everything, sees the dummy and goes, "What is this?" And so he turns to the server and it's like,
"Get the fuck out of here. I'm on a date."
Goes, "Just two lovely people and a bonehead on a date. Guess who's the bonehead?"
Oh yeah, it's so old timey. I love it.
And then the server's like, "Oh, wow." He just says, "Wow," and walks away. And she said that so then their food comes, right? So appetizers, but then the actual entree comes, and he doesn't put the dummy away. So he starts talking to her again.
We also brushed past the fact that he stashed this in the restaurant somewhere. We are totally blowing past the fact that he said, "I'll show you." Just went somewhere, assuming his car wasn't outside. I guess I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was at coat check. Maybe.
But like, if he brought the dummy prepared for that reveal already, way too much.
Yeah. Already a killer.
Wow.
So then they're eating, and he straight up is eating and has sat the dummy, because it was one of those 4-seat tables. And so he just sat the dummy in one of the chairs. So the dummy just sitting up while they eat.
Just staring at her chew with its lifeless eyes.
Just staring at her chest. Of no fault of his own. That's just where he was positioned.
I'm only comfortable ogling women with my dummy.
And then she said she can tell that the staff is like straight up watching them now. Like coming out of the kitchen to peek and walk back in.
Your friend is a fucking trooper, by the way.
And
the fact that he didn't sit down with the dummy and she didn't go nope and just walk out. It shows a lot of her character.
And so then when they start to like get close to finishing the entree, the server walks back up and is like, "Hey, we were wondering, like, do you do like shows everywhere? Like, just like starts like actually just engaging, like, do you do shows everywhere? And like what do you and he excitedly grabs the dummy and just starts talking to the server like all over again. And so then the server's like, "Can you show the guys in the kitchen?"
And he doesn't realize that they're making fun of him.
He doesn't at all.
Does not at all. Because 100% they're like, "Hey, you got to get him to come back here. I got to see this.
Come back here." And so then he was like, "Yeah, I'll do my thing and everything." And and the dummy is like, "We'd love to." And she said what had to be most of the staff walked out of the kitchen and just stood at the table.
Oh no!
Just watching this man do the worst act and they're dying laughing. So it's like he thinks he's killing, and
But
maybe
they're
he is.
laughing,
Who knows?
baby.
Because some
But
of them, like to be fair, some of them did not speak English. So I think some of them were just fully into the fact that a person was doing ventriloquism while only moving their mouth. I think no matter what language you speak,
right.
that is going to be universally funny.
Yeah, yeah. Being bad at ventriloquism transcends language. You can tell when it's going wrong.
Because I don't even know what jokes, you know what I mean? Like, obviously, I don't even know what jokes he was doing or anything. It's just straight up the fact that he's this bad. It's like remarkable. And she was like, I was just like, like she said she was just like melting in her seat. And it's
Oh.
not like no one was like looking at her or anything. Everyone was focused on him, but she was like,
Well, listen, earlier they were all looking at her.
yeah, that's fair.
when the dummy first came out, everyone was looking at her just being like, oh, does she know about this? Does she like this? She does not. She does not
Yeah.
know or like about this.
I mean, she probably looked like she was down with it when they started eating, because then,
Yeah, no, they're like, oh, they must be together then.
yeah,
Because she's
yeah.
fine. She's fine with the dummy. Just sitting there eating with that. Oh,
Oh, man.
this you've made me so happy today, Josh.
And,
I was already having a pretty good day, and it got real good.
and then basically so she's like melting her seat because she said that there's no way that they're like shoot. I remember her saying this of like how there was no way eventually that food was being cooked. Like too many of them were watching them. Because it's like a small restaurant, you know?
Right.
And
they hadn't gotten their food yet? Or no, they did. They did what they were eating.
They ate.
But other people in the
people-
restaurant now
Other people are just waiting. They're like, hey, yo,
are now sitting there pissed at this shitty ventriloquist.
that's just like, I would have loved to try the food. Unfortunately, I have a sensitive stomach.
Just imagine that Yelp review. Like, I went there on a date to have a meal, and we could not get served because some ventriloquist, the whole staff was gawking at a dummy who could not enunciate. 1 star, will not go back.
The food was great, but the show was terrible.
The ventriloquist act was all vowels. 1 star.
All vowels and spit.
That must violate some sort of code. I don't know. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I keep going back to like the moment before. Like, did he show up with like a big fucking suitcase? Like before the date was like, hey, can I stash this back here?
Can I put my roller bag here real quick?
Oh, did he ever try to like drink water while doing the ventriloquism? But like he's not good at it, so he just started drinking. It's like, would you? Oh man. Fuck me. That is so goddamn funny.
Man. But yeah, they didn't go on a second date.
Oh, really? Oh, darn it. I was really rooting for them. Because here's the thing. Even if he was really good at ventriloquism, it'd still be shaky whether he was getting that second date. You know?
I don't care if your art is music and if you're at a restaurant, you don't just pull out a guitar
This is a great point.
and start playing songs, like serenading.
Well, yeah, because I was already thinking about like, okay, even just thinking of it in terms of comedians I've known who just like will start like making people listen to their, you know, comedy, especially when they're like new at it, you know, or whatever. on a date, they'll be like, well, here's, and then they just start laying out material. Already that is like weird. It's at least a conversation, so you can do it. But like, when you got to go get a thing. Because even if he was a painter, if he just started painting there, you'd be like, okay, you brought all that?
Imagine if you just started painting on the wall with like watercolors you brought.
I think this is technically vandalism. I don't.
In case someone asked you, what's your art? I have to show you. And then you just start painting lilies on a restaurant wall.
Yeah. Yeah. Even if you don't have an unsettling art, if you just start doing it, it still throws you off.
Yeah. Yeah.
God, but now I'm imagining if he brought a guitar out and then he was a really bad guitarist.
It was just
Let me show you.
like, let me show you the ways that I love. It was just like a guttural, like she was like,
look at this photograph.
You know what it was too that I think really messed him up is that his mouth was open, but he was trying to not move it. That actually makes sense now that would be the voice you'd make if you didn't close your mouth to do real ventriloquism, but you opened it, but you're like, like
having it wide open. Yeah, that's not the move. That's why a lot of them smile so they can like just do it through their teeth.
If you've ever been to the dentist, you've just done an impression of this dummy. That's essentially what it sounded like. Your dentist asked you a question and you're like, that is what the dummy. She said it was like she said that she said some of the words were so garbled she wasn't sure what the joke was. Like,
I also love that it sounds like he was doing the oldest of ventriloquist shtick too.
Yeah.
Like that is fucking vaudeville. Like that is old shtick.
Let's just say that blackface was normal when that type of act was popular. That's how old your thing is. You're not even hitting the roaring 20s. We're talking 1919.
Yeah. There weren't even separate water fountains yet because they hadn't been invented.
Yeah. Dude, this was the oldest just and the fact that it was like the fact that for whatever reason, look, killing is killing. The fact that he was killing with the staff is also somehow both impressive and more embarrassing.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because now she is not just his hostage, but everyone's.
Imagine you're in a hostage situation and some of the people, you're talking to the negotiator and then some of the people are like, we like it in here.
Give us a gun. I'm joining. Like, yeah. Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fucking amazing. And I mean, I guess good for him because you said he was really content. Seemed really.
I mean, this is what I think is actually happening. I feel like one, this dude lives within his means, which is why he's not really pressed for money. And then two, I think that he's so bad that it's entertaining that he gets work. I could see that happening. Because here's the thing. If this dude went on America's Got Talent, I think he'd take it all the way. I think it would be so funny that they would actually give him the golden star. They hit that golden button. They put him through the next round. He shows up and you're like, man, this guy's like a really funny comedy act who did like a fake ventriloquism for his first thing. And it was hilarious.
Yeah.
Then he starts again and it's worse. It's worse the first time. But you're laughing so hard now because you're like, I can't believe anybody would do this act again. That's hilarious.
How he wasted his golden star on this.
And then, but then even that's funny. And so then it's so funny that he just keeps getting promoted to the next round, and by then
Mm-hmm.
he's an American sweetheart. Like by then he's just like,
Yeah.
it's like people love how bad he is at this thing. And then there's just a Vegas show at the end of it where
Yeah.
you go to watch this dude talk for an hour and be like, what is what river is completely full of what river
I can't wait to see where this joke ends.
what river is completely full of what river is completely full of direct intention? The Pacific Ocean. And then you just sit there.
Jesus Christ.
And then you just sit there and you're like, that's the worst thing I've ever heard.
First off, not a river. You said ocean. And then next season, suddenly he's a judge on America's Got Talent. You're like, how did he?
How did he get to be a and then you sing your heart out and he's like, I wasn't really feeling it.
Where you can't really understand the notes he's given. Hi there. Everyone just kind of looks at him. I think that's a vote for yes.
Imagine how demoralizing it would be to be a comic going on America's Got Talent, and then a dummy's hand gives you the thumbs down. I don't think you just quit comedy. I think you actively go on a killing spree. Like, I think that's enough to break a human's mind.
Yeah.
So much so that they're like, I want nothing to do with society. I want nothing to do with anyone here.
A dummy told me I failed. I couldn't understand what he said. Terry Crews was there. I don't know. Reality exploded on me.
Terry Crews had to sit me down and tell me that even though I should have been able to understand it off the rip, the dummy said that I'm talentless and I have no future.
Holy shit. Oh. That's just beautiful. I don't know. It's chaos. What happened to your friend is horrible.
Yeah. I
but just
great person, but yeah, terrible luck.
In a weird way, in an indirect way, he did make art. Because that moment, that moment is beautiful.
Sure enough, absolutely.
Holy shit!
Give it up for Josh Johnson!
I don't know. Maybe y'all saw. Maybe you didn't see. Maybe people can only watch so much news, you know. But y'all saw the president at the UN. This is. I didn't see everything as it was happening. I heard about some stuff later, right? So then I got a text message from my friend. They were like, oh, did you see what happened at the UN? I'm like, no, I didn't see what happened at the UN. And they explained to me that, he was getting on escalator and then the escalator stopped. Now, I thought at the time, it was going very differently. I thought the escalator stopped on like a down escalator. That would have been a big deal. Imagine you on escalator. You have belief. You get on a down escalator, you're like, all right, it's gonna take me where I need to go. No need for a seatbelt. If that thing just stops, the momentum, whoa! Now the president's falling down the steps. So I thought that's what happened. Then I watched the video and I saw that he just walked up to the escalator, stepped on the escalator, and the escalator broke. And you saw him stand at the bottom of the escalator like, what? And Melania didn't miss a beat. She just started walking up the escalator. And so there were people that were like, this was sabotage. UN needs to be investigated. Somebody needs to be arrested, right? But then he made it up the escalator / stairs. And he went to speak to the UN. Went to speech for the whole of the UN. He's standing here, UN over there. And as soon as he goes to start, the teleprompter broke. We know the teleprompter broke because he told us. As soon as he walked up, he told us, teleprompter broke. First the escalator, teleprompter broke. Nothing here work. Nothing. No, teleprompter. And it's like, look, if you're delivering a speech and it's been, uploaded to teleprompter, then teleprompter breaks, all right, like, that is something to be annoyed or caught off guard about. But I'm sitting there watching, like, why do you care that the teleprompter, you're not gonna read it, like you're not. Every speech is off the dome. Every speech you can tell every speech, he's over here freestyling every time. Why do you even have a speechwriter? You know the president's speechwriter right now gotta be the easiest job in the world. You just over here typing up chapters from Great Expectations, knowing he's not gonna read it. Knowing he's just gonna go, you know what I mean? He goes off of vibes. What do you care that the teleprompter is broke? You weren't gonna look at it. You might have read the first couple sentences and then been like, you know what? I'm gonna speak from the heart. And so the teleprompter broke it, And so he's like, I guess I'll just have to. Which was also wild because the speech was printed out in front of him. But he was like, no, you want me to turn pages? No. And then proceeds to, give this address to the UN, and it depending on who you talk to, depending on whose opinion you're listening to, it did not go fantastic. Because the energy of the speech was like the normal energy. It was like rally energy, like talking to his base or something. But this is the UN. They don't live here. Like some of the stuff they don't care about. Like you talking to the UN. Everyone's here. He's over here like I inherited a mess and we fixed it and like years ago we were down in the dumps and now we're the hottest country in the world. He keeps saying we're the hottest country in the world and I don't know what that means. I feel like even the UN was like, so what? Climate change? What does it mean, the hottest? This is also wild because, like, you talking to other countries right now. Why are you dunking on them right now? Then, dudes over here, I ended, like, 7 wars. And it's just funny because, like, everybody he talking about is there. So now some of these countries look at each other across the desk like, I don't know. I didn't even. What did I say? Nah, it was incredible. And then there was a weird thing. I think it was Brazil. He was talking about the leader of Brazil and how, like, you know, first of all, this dude also tariffing everybody. So then he was talking about how he doesn't do deals with people he doesn't like, but then he had a good handshake with the leader of Brazil, so maybe they could work something out. Even Brazil had to be like, yo, I don't know. I just saw him in the hallway. Out here trying to be cordial. I don't even know if this is good. Was it good? No, it's phenomenal performance. Truly, I've not seen anything like it. Just over here. I'm sure if you were at the UN just sitting there, you just sitting there quietly listening, looking over at other countries. You know. There's some countries that had just be chuckling. Like countries that aren't in the mix, you know what I mean? Like if you're not like a key member of BRICS, or you're not, you know what I mean? Like if you're not like in the news in that way, you just come, you enjoy the show. You know? Like I imagine maybe Zimbabwe might have been cracking up. They'd be like, that's your friend. That's your friend. But that wasn't the only incredible performance. That wasn't the only press conference. Because they held a press conference because they found it. They found it. They nailed it down. They found the cause. That's what they said. No, gathered everybody together, got the press conference going on. Looked like it was in the Oval Office. Yeah. And they were gonna talk about the causes that they had found, the root cause of autism. This is what they said. And so, you know, they walk in and you had Dr. Oz. Dr. Osmosis himself. You know Dr. Ozymandias. Like, Dr. Oz is standing there. And like, why? How did this happen? If we are just gonna start putting people from TV in real, like, government position, in real medical field, can we at least get somebody from, like, Grey's Anatomy or something? You know what I mean? Like, if we are already not being serious, can we not be serious better? Who is checking for Dr. Oz besides Oprah? Who is? He's standing there, doesn't even really look that healthy himself. This man's advice so far has been actually insane. They've done interviews with him. He's, you know, spoken to the public. Like, what would you suggest for Americans? The man's out here. If you want to, if you don't, look, if you don't want to be sick, be healthy. I wish I was joking. I would, like, I can barely take credit for that one. I changed like 2 words. So you got Dr. Oz from TV on one side. And then you have y'all know who he is. And then you have RFK Jr. on the other side, looking odder than usual. If y'all saw it, you know what I'm talking about. RFK Jr. showed up. I don't know what's happening. Because it wasn't like a tan. Like he looked like a bruised blueberry. Like he looked wild and nobody addressing it. Nobody saying anything. The president over here just trying to not use his peripheral vision. RFK Jr. is white. No, that is a white man. He's white. He's a white guy. But that's the first time I've ever seen a white guy and been like, he is colored. Like that. Yo, my man, what is happening? He just stand there like he's been holding his breath for 26 years. This is very bad. And then, I don't know who told him. I imagine it could have been somebody, higher up, but it could even just been an aide that told the president, okay, you're going to give this press conference, you're going to talk about links to autism, and what you need to do, this is very important, for legal, this is very important for a lot of reasons, what you need to do is say the name of the drug. Then you can go on and say the brand name. But you need to say the name of the drug because the drug is what we're saying is the link, not one particular brand. So there are other like store brands that are this drug. You need to say the drug. Say the drug. You have to say the drug. Okay? Say the drug. And I'm sure he attacked it with that regular, bravado. I'm gonna say it, whatever. Get out of here. Let me work. Let me get in the zone, all right? I got you in my ear. I got him over here being purple. Let me work. It goes up, starts the speech. It's rolling. It's rolling with it. And then he hit a more than 8-letter word. And then the commander-in-chief, leader of the free world, in real time, in front of us, the American public, technically the whole world, because the internet, our leader in front of the nation, at a press conference they called. Our leader in real time sounded it out. I try really hard. No matter who somebody is, no matter the background, no matter the situation, really treat people like equals, not like look at people a certain type of way. We all struggle. We all have our different strengths and weaknesses and everything. But I'm just going to go out on a limb and say it. If you are 80 and you haven't attacked a word before, maybe it's just not a word you ever going to get. Like if you... It's late. It's late for him to be sounding out new words. Because the word, he could see the word coming up. And sounded it out confidently too, just over here, and it's not like it was in the mic. You couldn't hear it into the mic, but you could tell Dr. Oz was standing there trying to do hard ventriloquism. Just... Dr. Oz was standing there like, just open your mouth, let me do it. Dr. Oz was fighting to just, you could see him. I see him in the face. I see him in the face. I said, Tom, I see Trump. See him, man. I knew when he looked around, we were cooked. Like I knew it. When that man looked up from the paper, I was like, no, stay on it, stay on it. Stay with it, you almost got it. I said, Tom, I see him, I see him, Tylenol, and like that. That is also wild too. Gave us the full, what is it, Porky Pig? Gave us the full Tylenol. And he was hitting those T's, that Tylenol extra hard. He was getting his payback with those T's. Tylenol, don't take that Tylenol. When y'all see Tylenol. Because it was rough. It was like, you've been in third grade before. You remember when a teacher, I didn't even know this at the time, but it was basically when a teacher had like a hangover, and so then the teacher would just make y'all read the book to each other. At the time, I really thought it was about learning, and now that I'm grown enough to have friends that are teachers, I'm like, no, you had a bender. That's what this is. Don't try to put this off on the students. You know, you seeing double right now. And so it would be, your turn would be coming up. And you would do a thing. Somebody would be reading over here, and you start counting people and counting paragraphs. And then you read ahead a little bit so that when it's your time to read your paragraph, you're reading your paragraph all fast and everything. People can't even retain the information. Then, there'd always be that one kid. There'd be that one kid where it's like, when you get to his paragraph, that's gonna last till the end of class. So You literally count your paragraph till you have to read, and then you count paragraphs, and you like, the bell gonna ring here. Sometimes to be a kid, everybody learns differently. We all have different abilities, and you do your best to be as patient as possible. I remember, I had one kid in my class that we would do that, and then his paragraph be coming up, and as soon as his paragraph start, everybody's like, and then he would start and he would be sounding it out and then hit the word and then sounding it out. Everybody learns at a different pace. Sounding it out, hit the word. Sound it out, hit the word. Sometimes he'd even go back, sound it out, hit the word, say the last 3 words together. He's learning. We're all learning. Everybody moves in their own time. But sometimes, I'll be honest with you, I was a kid too. I wasn't always patient. Sometimes he'd be sitting there and be like, and I'd be like, A, it's A, it's A, it's A, it's A. You already hit it. It's A, it's A. There's nothing left to do. It's A, it's A. It is A. You did it. High five. You did it. It's A. It's only A. And then you grow up and you mature and you realize that everybody's good at stuff. People aren't as good at stuff and everything. Because I'll tell you what, I could read, when I was a kid, I could read, very good at reading. My math wasn't great. So then when it came to math, it was me who was like a little bit behind all the time, especially when we got to like algebra. Because I could factor a little bit. I understood denominators and stuff like that. Like I felt like I was keeping up and everything. But when we hit algebra, all of a sudden the tables were turned. This is why you have to be as patient with people as you want them to be with you. Because I'm sitting there. And for the first time, there's letters. There's letters in the math problem, but I'm sitting over here like, and then he was sitting there like, it's 4, it's 4, it's 4. And so, he's over there. He went ahead and dunked on that acetaminophen and then went ahead and started saying Tylenol, started describing to the people things that were not on the paper in front of him. Which is why you definitely shouldn't be upset when the teleprompter doesn't work. You know is what you're gonna do. This man was just throwing out all types of wild claims. This dude was like, hey, look, the Amish, don't have any autism. And a couple times in this press conference, he would say something, then turn to somebody and be like, is that true? My man, no, it's all on the paper. They put it all on the paper. You had RFK Jr. turn from purple to red. Because then he just started going off on like vaccines in general. And just started saying like, look, it's too much. It's too much. And he's not the first person, he's not the only person to be saying that. It's too much at one time. You got those beautiful babies and you shooting them up with 80 shots of liquid. The thing that stuck out to me about the liquid thing is that you could tell he wanted to say juice. You could tell he's like, they put too much juice in them babies. Nobody need all that vaccine juice. No, it was truly wild. And then it was over. And then it was over. I can't imagine what it must have been like to be on the board of Tylenol. If you're on the board of Tylenol watching this press conference, you over here probably on a whole roller coaster of emotions. Like, at first you'd be sweating because they had let it slip several times that this is basically what the topic was going to be and what was going to be said. It had been like, pieced out, little flavor, little sprinkle here and there for the media all the way up until that press conference, right? But then, when they actually said it, I'm sure Tylenol was stressing when they said this is what the press conference was going to be about. This is what they were going to talk about. You work at Tylenol, you sitting there, edge of your seat. And then he goes to say the name of the drug, and you're probably like, this might not be that bad for us, honestly. He almost said a cinnamon. We might be in the clear here. All we gotta do is come out with a label, no cinnamon in our product. We'll be fine. And then he says your brand name. Then he says your brand name over and over again, and now you're like, that's not good. That one came out perfectly. And then he talks about the Amish, and you're like, I guess if people watch the whole thing, they'll be confused enough to not know if they should take it or not. Because my thing is, look, why have such an unforced error? You know what I mean? Go ahead. You already got Caroline Levitt talking to the media all the time. Get her out there to start the thing. Get her say the name of the drug and then walk off. Then you can go and just go off your vibes and everything. You had two people on either side of you that probably say the name of the drug all the time. Don't let him, but let Dr. Oz say it. Let him earn his keep. He over here supposed to be a doctor, got the shortest name I've ever seen. Because I do my best to be up on the news, but I don't always want to talk about, politics and stuff. Sometimes there's stuff that happens that has nothing to do with anything political, and it just warms your heart to see it. You'll see a news story that captivates you, and it doesn't take you into like any sort of polarized position, Like I saw this South Carolina teacher that got arrested for using fart spray on the students as a punishment. Look, I'm not a teacher. I come from like a family of teachers, people that work in education. And like kids have always and will always drive adults insane. It's like part of the bargain that we have. Is part of the truce, It's like y'all won't do a Lord of the Flies. Y'all just be bad in school. And we'll pay the bills. And like, I can't imagine what it's like to teach, especially now. You have kids who genuinely, because of like lockdown and COVID and stuff like that, missed out on little pieces. You have adults now who missed out on like a full college experience. You also have little kids who missed out on having their friends over and, being able to socialize at a very specific point in their life. So everybody's been like knocked off their kilter a little bit by COVID and by lockdown, not being able to just be with each other. That's just, a fact. And because of how school was going in that time, you have people who are really behind, because they didn't have that special attention. You had to do school on Zoom with a bunch of other students, and maybe a kid needed help and they couldn't get it immediately, not in the way you can get it when you're present, you know? I can't imagine what it would be like right now to be in school, sitting there, trying to do my algebra like zzz, 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 zzz. And so then the kids come back to school and, you know, some of them are excited to see their friends. Some of them are still trying to learn how to socialize. Some of them, you know, maybe aren't as affected as others. But kids will be kids. Kids will be loud. They won't listen, all that stuff. And then what do you do if you're a teacher? You got teachers out here fighting for their lives just to try to teach you some English. You know? You see videos of it all the time, teachers going through it because students don't want to listen, all this stuff. This is the person that's just trying to make sure you know how to spell. So one day, if you make it all the way to the White House and you have to address the nation, you won't be like, sematosis. And so if you're a teacher, you know what I mean? What do you do? Like my teachers used to yell. Teachers yell. It happens. Hey, stop! And you can tell. There's a certain yell, especially when you got like a male teacher. There's a certain yell that you can tell you broke him because his voice cracked. You know what I mean? Like, if he's like, hey, hey, y'all, chill out, right? And he's had enough of it, and maybe you're the first period of the day. You know what I mean? Y'all being a little loud. Hey, listen up, right? Something happened at about 5th period and on, where if you really got him at his wits' end, he'd be like, hey! Can't even help you people. That's how you can tell. That's how you can tell when a teacher really at the edge, when they just start talking to the students like they are society. Like it's like you do your best, you know. You go to a state school to save money because you know you're not going to make it here, you know. You got a passion for Spanish, so you try to teach it to you knuckleheads. Just truly, like, you know, teacher ready to cry. Over here, you get that third shut up. Sometimes that third shut up doesn't have any bass behind it. It sounds a little bit, shut up! Leaning against the board. I don't know what to do. And so what do? You know what I mean? Yelling doesn't work. You can't hit them. Somebody came up with a plan. Somebody was like, y'all don't respect me? Okay, y'all don't respect me? You will respect this. Because I've read different reports. Some reports say he was like doing a prank or whatever. Some reports say he was like mad about whatever. But I'm telling you, he could have done it for any amount of reasons. Maybe this dude didn't take his job seriously. Maybe, you know, he was out here just trying to prank for fun. He's somehow like a teacher's assistant, whatever, and still hadn't like grown up. So then he's over here. Ooh, look at you, stinky. Ooh. Ooh, stink butt over here. Ooh. Maybe. But maybe he had had enough. You can only take so many spitballs to the back of the neck before you snap. Maybe this dude came in one day and was like, all right, look, I hate that it's come to this. I really do. But please believe me, if you talk all the time or you never talked before, anybody can get it. All right. I'm not going to lose my voice this week. because y'all don't want to learn. Anybody can get it. Anybody. I'm gonna put it right here. And I'm begging y'all not to test me. As soon as somebody's talking to their friend, he's like, what? He must have been brandishing it. He must have been wielding it because apparently, like, from what I read, like 100 parents complained or something. This dude got arrested, and then I think they said like 2 students went to the hospital or something like that. And I'm sure you over there in interrogation tried to defend yourself. They should have thought about that asthma when they were doing all that talking, all right? How do we know it was a spray? What if it was that talking that caused the asthma attack? Over here, mouth moving 100 miles a minute. I'm trying to teach something. Listening is easy to breathe. Because I wonder how much he must have done it. You know what I mean? Was it just off of anything? Just one little noise? Huh? Or did he wait? Was he like writing on the board, letting the chatter sort of build? And then that's the thing. When you're a kid in class, you always think you're good if you're just not as loud as the loudest person. But that noise rises the entire level of the volume, because now if everybody's talking a little bit, somebody's gonna get a little bit more confident, get a little louder. Everybody starts talking a little louder, and as long as they're not as loud as the loud one, now everybody's basically screaming just so they can hear themselves because they're all doing so much talking. And next thing you know, he whips around, hey! Y'all gonna learn today. Because even the school said that he did $55,000 worth of damage. How? It must just be in the walls now.
Put your hands together, start clapping right now for the incomparable Josh
I've had quite a week still trying to distill all of my thoughts and feelings around the presidential debate. Okay. I live in New York, and in New York there are a lot of parks, and in some of those parks you'll see, it's like an iconic thing about New York, that there'll be somebody playing chess in the park, right? And sometimes they're just 2 old men playing chess or checkers. Sometimes it's somebody that's like, hey, I'll play anybody, I'm practicing for a tournament. And a lot of times it's somebody who's playing chess, but they're playing for like money. Like, you put 5 down, I bet you can't beat me, and I'll put 5 down, and we'll see. And then, you know, speed chess as well. They got the clock next to them, bow, and a bow, and a bow, right? And I've played before, and I'm not good at chess. And it's crazy how fast you can lose. Sometimes I'll be playing chess in the park, and he'll be like, checkmate, but it sounds like there's no way. Then I'll grab, I have a chess book, and I'll look at the board and look at the book. Like, damn, okay. That wasn't that many moves. I don't know what else I was supposed to do. You know? And I don't know, I feel like watching watching the election and watching the debate felt a lot like that. It felt like bad chess moves. We've watched a lot of debates that Trump has been in, and we've gone 2 for 2 this year with having remarkably historic debates, both of which were like, whew. You know what I mean? Like you get done and you're like, whew. Felt like I was up there. And there was a moment in the first debate that was echoed in this debate. There was a moment back when Trump was debating Biden, and I've talked about it before, where there's a second there where Trump looked at Biden, and for a split second, he wasn't trying to be president. He wasn't even trying to debate. He was literally like, hey, he good? Like, no, y'all, stop. Is he good though? It was a different tactic than we've ever seen before from Kamala debating Trump, because she debated him the way that I think a lot of us might debate him. You know? I'm not gonna speak for anybody in here, anybody listening to me. I don't know if you're like a political analyst. I don't know how involved you are with politics, but she debated him the way that I think we debate him sometimes in our heads, which is to be like, what did you just... Because most politicians are not... Hear me out. Most politicians don't behave like people. And when I say that, I want you to understand, I mean, maybe they care about people, maybe they care about getting something good done, maybe they care about forwarding their agenda, but they don't react to things and they don't behave like people, like just regular people. It's why they feel fake. It's because they can't just be like, oh, shit. You see, man? Do you see what I mean? And it's why people from 2015 on have gravitated towards Trump, because he feels like they would react. Like he will say, oh, shit. But then you look at someone like Kamala, and she's a very polished person, very accomplished person. But in that debate, she was having moments that for the first time ever felt like moments that we might have up there. Does that make sense? Like when Trump would debate other Republicans leading up to the nomination, or when Trump would debate Hillary or Biden, there was a sense of like, wait, are you not going to say anything about the thing that he just said just now? Why are you staring forward, acting like what you heard wasn't wrong? Why are you like looking to the moderators to fact check? There's nothing more exhausting than when someone who could be a good player is looking at the ref to be like, help. You know what I mean? You say he's lying right now. Like he just lied now, so say it now. Don't later be like, and then they didn't even help. Do you see what I mean? We've watched it happen. We've watched, he was in those debates. Republicans did not know what to do with this man. He was over there telling Ted Cruz to his face, your wife is ugly. And because Ted Cruz doesn't move like a person, doesn't react like a person, he didn't slap him in his face in that moment. No, Trump has shown that the American people were ready and willing for someone unorthodox. You know how much he would have surged in the polls if he had walked over from his podium and was like, what? And then slapped Trump in his face. I know at least his wife would have liked it. You know? I don't even remember what he said about Marco Rubio. I just remember Marco Rubio looking littler and littler every day. Marco Rubio started showing up. I was like, is he 4'8"? Nobody knew what to do. Journalists didn't know what to do. Journalists were like, but you can't say that about the press. But he did it. What are you gonna do? You know? And so now you watch this debate with Kamala, and we've all heard it and probably said it ourselves that she baited him a lot, but he bit every time. And this is my thing with that, is that decorum aside, don't you want someone representing you that could maybe let something slide? You know, it's got to be tough to be in the public eye. It's got to be tough to be and feel slighted all the time by lots of people that you meet that you don't know and they hate you. But also, you're here to do a job. You're here to do a job on the highest level. So a lot of people won't like you. No matter who wins as president, there will be people who are very upset. Do you really want someone who could be so easily irked? Kamala said, nobody. Kamala said that people leave his rallies early out of boredom and maybe confusion. I don't remember the other thing she said, but she said people were leaving early. And this is what's so interesting about that. We can talk about how much it's warranted or how much of it he egged on or whatever, but there has not been in a very long time a political figure that is as hated as Trump by a lot of people. So a lot of people have said every type of thing about him. A lot of people have drawn him. Do you know how much you gotta hate somebody to draw them? A lot of people... Drawings take time. It's one thing to curse somebody out real quick. It's a totally different thing to... No, wait, I'm getting his ass. I'm gonna take a break, but when I get back, he about to get it, all right? So all manner of things have been said to and about him, about himself, about his family, about how he behaves, about how he actually feels, about Americans in America, all of it. But this thing hadn't been said. And it turns out that this was the thing to say. This was the thing. If you're talking about feelings, this was the thing. And look, as someone raised by black women, don't. Black women know how to hurt feelings. Only a black woman would be like, no, go to his little rally and see. That's how confident she was in what she was saying, that she told us to go. She was like, look, I'm gonna do something I wouldn't normally do. Go ahead and go. You'll leave early, don't worry. That was the thing. That was the thing. And you could see it happen. You could see it, oh. On his face, you could see it happen. This dude who has held the highest office has been called a traitor. He's been called a Russian asset. He's been called all manner of things. But this was the thing. And it's because deep down at his core, even his supporters will admit that deep down at the base of who he is, Trump is an entertainer. And all I'm saying is, as a fellow entertainer, if someone had said, Josh, people leave your shows early out of boredom and confusion, I'd be like, oh, okay, we fighting, say less. This was the thing. That was the thing that like broke through this weird armor, because I've noticed that Trump specifically has a thing that has always kind of existed in politics, but has never existed to this degree, right? Where Trump has a filter created by his base, by the people who like him, love him, and everything, that he can say whatever he wants, but they will distill it for him for the rest of us. He'll say whatever, and then they will be like, what he meant was. But what he meant shouldn't have been what he said. Because he said this, and you're saying he meant something else, but he also had access to the words you just said. So are you sure he meant what you're saying and not what he said? I'd like to think that when you say something as the commander-in-chief, you mean what you said when you said it. You didn't say something being like, they'll figure it out. And because he has that filter, because that sort of buffer exists between him and like sound arguments and logic. I don't even mean that as like a diss. I literally mean he could say something and then it could spin out past something that he meant for real, right? Because as an example, that's like Trump's vaccine. I know we forget that, and I've talked about it before, but that's like, as far as presidents go, as far as you getting credit for the things you do while you're president, that's Trump's vaccine. But when he tried to say, guys, we did it, we have a vaccine, and his audience booed, he realized what it's like. Oh, I don't necessarily control what goes out, even though I said it. I said you should get vaccinated, and then they booed me. So clearly, it's not like a one-to-one. What I say is not, it won't be exactly what they do. So now I'm also trying to figure out how to like keep them on my side, but win them over, but lead them. I think in that moment you saw him get really worried and confused, and he immediately backtracked. He was like, or don't. And I said all of that to say that the screen, the buffer, the thing that he usually has, I'm not saying he lost it for good in this debate, but he did lose it a little bit. Because I grew up in Louisiana, and I know people who are like hardcore in the MAGA movement, like people who are like, no, Trump is the guy, he is gonna fix everything, right? I've grown up with these people, and we know each other well, and this was the first time that they were like, that wasn't great.
Because even in debates against Hillary, they were like, no, okay, he said the thing, and I know it's a good soundbite for you liberals, but like, this is what he meant. And the thing that they're saying he meant, which is what they heard, which is what they decided to hear, is a reasonable thing when they start saying it from their mouths. So now I'm like, oh, okay, if that's what you think, that's what he said, then I can see why you're still like really gung-ho while I'm more put off by what he said, you know? But this was the first time that there was almost like a shared language. There was like a shared reality around like, what's happening to him right now? And he started to spiral, and he said, hey, look, they asked him a question. I can't remember if it was about immigration or the economy, but they asked him a question that should have been a layup for him. And he was still like, can I address the rallies for a second? Which, as a fellow entertainer, I understand. If someone had said that to me, I would have also been like, hey, listen, let me explain, all right? It was a Friday late show. They were tired, okay? You can't put that on me. And he said, can I address the rallies real quick? Because people don't go to her rallies, all right? They don't go to her rallies at all. The people that go to her rallies, she got to bust them in, and then they don't even have fun while they're there. She doesn't have any snacks. Now I'm paraphrasing, but like... But he did. He hit back with like rallies. They asked him underhanded. Should have knocked it out of the park, and he got distracted by rallies and crowd size and things that make sense as a priority if you're an entertainer. But if you're about to be the leader of the free world, they shouldn't matter as much, you know? And you could see him kind of spiraling after that because he was a little frustrated by like this thing that broke through. Then that never happens. Trump is a very hard person to debate because people like him are very hard to debate because they're not trying to have a debate with you. They're trying to make you look dumb. And because Trump is like very good at making other people look dumb, he's very good at debating. You see what I mean? But this was the first time that he was like, what is she talking about? My crowd. And so, you know, he had a bit of a spiral. And before you know it, he was like, look, they're eating the dogs. They're eating the dogs, they're eating cats, they're eating... And you could tell in that moment that Trump wanted to say another animal, but he couldn't think of one. Because he says pets, but pets is off rhythm. If you go back and watch, it's like they're eating the dogs, they're eating cats, they're eating... And you can see for a split second the wheels turn of he's like trying to think of, they're eating the bird. No, we all eat birds. They're eating the pets. You know? And then, you know, Kamala does a thing, and it's a thing that we've done when we've been watching debates, when we've been watching rallies, when we've been watching them on the news. She does a thing that we've done before, that a lot of other politicians have not done on stage with Trump. She laughed at him. And I think there's context to that laugh, because I'm not trying to get too, like, I don't know, like too much of a deep dive into it, but like there's context with that laugh because she's not laughing at him, she's laughing at what he said. And that's really different. It's one thing to say Trump is a joke and Trump is a joke, and you could make the argument that the reason Trump became president was because Obama made him a joke. Do you remember that? Do you remember that? Obama made fun of this man and he just sat there quiet, you know? And then years later, he was like, peaceful transition of power, huh? There's a big difference between laughing at Trump and laughing at what he said. You can think that Trump is a joke all you want, but he laughed his way to the presidency. But then when you laugh at what he says, when you take the power out of what he's saying, that's a very different thing. You know, she laughed at what he said for a second. And then there was a second, it was very slight, but there was a second where she was still smiling, but she wasn't laughing. And then there was a second where she wasn't smiling and she wasn't laughing. And it was reminiscent of like, yo. Yo. No, wait, yo. You know? And that's my thing, is I'm like, I look at that, I'm like, wow, that's different, you know? It was very, very different. And the thing I've noticed in both these debates is that they're not even about who did well. They're just about who did the least poorly. That's what we get stuck on. Like, it wasn't even, last debate wasn't even about Trump performing well, it was about Biden crashing out. And then this debate wasn't as much about Kamala winning as much as Trump. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cat. They're eating flamingos. They're eating the pets. No. And it was the first time in all the times that he's debated that Trump looked 78. Because he's 78. And he's got a lot of energy, so we let a lot of those years slide. We don't feel like he's 78. You know what I mean? Like I've known grandpas like Trump. I've known grandpas that were like, oh, he's got so much energy and he's so spry. And he's eating a lot of fast food. But he's 78. You know what I mean? But I guess this is one of my main things about it, is that like, it was the first time I saw him look out of his element on like a really important moment, you know? And I don't want people to think that this is like, that's it. That's all that needed. Not at all. It's harrowing how little it actually moves the needle. Almost everyone feels the way they felt before, even after we saw what we saw. And we agree that it didn't go well for one person. But we're still like, nah, I'm still gonna go the way I was gonna go. That's interesting, you know, that after all of this, they're like tied. Wow, they're tied. In lots of places, they're tied. It's not even like it's working out to be a tie because all this place and all this. No, in a lot of places, they watched that and they were like, I don't know. That's pretty wild, you know? The first time he really looked 78, because it was the first time he said something that like a grandpa would say right before you put him in a home. You know what I mean? Because be honest, if you let a lot of stuff slide as like a child or grandchild, and then grandpa been living by himself, but if one day out of nowhere, and you haven't seen where he saw this on the internet, he just walks up and he's like, they're eating the dogs. They're eating the cat. You're like, okay, that's the last straw. I let you put the remote in the mailbox several times. But this is the one that I can't abide. This is, because it really has consequence. And I think that we live well enough here, even though I'm not even pretending things are just phenomenal. I'm just saying day to day, by and large, we do get by. And I think that when you get by, especially comfortably, it can feel like a game. You know, it can feel like something that doesn't matter as much. You know, and it can feel like something that you're just playing at. And I think that, you know, it's important to remember that all of the things that these people say, these are very powerful people already, and one of them is going to become even more powerful. Everything that they say, everything they do has ripple effects. You know, they're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. It's like a meme. It's like a thing that's starting up. But it's also, which is very, very important, because we did a thing back in 2014, and we've done it ever since, that I don't know how to fix it. I'm just saying what happened from 2014 on. Anyone online that was even all the way from like crazy people down to people who were slightly conservative, right? From 2014 on, were just called Nazis outright. Right? Anything. And even a question, oh, you Nazi, right? To the point where Nazi started to not mean anything. And when it doesn't mean anything, it's hard to make it mean something when like an actual Nazi shows up, right? And I want to be clear here. The thing that Trump said, it is a lie started by a neo-Nazi. I don't care how many people on Twitter try to find something to make it make sense after the fact. It's a thing that a guy said at a community meeting where he was specifically targeting the Haitian community, and he said that we will not be safe the more Haitians we let into it. That's also the other part of the soundbite. Outside of the dogs and cats, this dude was specifically saying, and he gets kicked out of the community meeting. That part also didn't make it into the viral clip, right? And so when people are saying, well, I saw, and they have these fourth-hand accounts of like my brothers, sisters, uncles, girlfriend has a cat that's missing. And they try to put stuff together. There's even a video going around of some people cooking a cat that's from a year ago and not in Springfield, and then that became like evidence. There's another picture of a guy that was walking with two geese that they said he was on his way to go cook, when actually it was found out that this dude was pulling these geese away from a car accident where they got hit, and that he's probably not Haitian. But even so, death threats, bomb threats, all of this horrible, horrific stuff has been happening to the Haitian community, to the point where apparently, maybe this isn't true, but apparently even the person in the Facebook group that first posted about, oh, my niece's cat is missing, and thinking, she has even come out and been like, I never meant for it to turn into this. That was just a Facebook post. Maybe she was having a goof with a friend. She didn't think it would come out of the mouth of the former president in a debate where he was flailing. So all these things have real consequences. It's not a game, and we are not chess pieces, you know? And even after the debate, you know, it almost like hijacked the whole narrative of Trump losing the debate and Kamala winning it. Now it became about this weird thing with hate. And it's also already, in that little bit of time since the debate, switched into Africans, because now they were just like, oh, wait, we got it wrong. It's not Haitians, it's Africans that are eating the dogs and cats. And so now it's already shifted just to try to find some truth out of a thing that was a lie, right? And you have J.D. Vance afterwards, who, you know, pretty much probably fed that to Trump. And he's sitting there talking to Collins in an interview, talking about, okay, whether we find out that this is somewhat true or only a little bit true, was not willing to call it a lie, right? He says that, you know, we don't have evidence. This is me paraphrasing just for the sake of brevity, but basically we don't have evidence that there's no evidence. And the thing that is like so brain broken about that logic is that it creates a tidal wave of insanity until you can finally make something that you want to be true, right? Because it could ruin anybody's life. For instance, when you look at J.D. Vance, there is No evidence that there's no evidence that he didn't bang a couch. Do you see? Like, do you see how that's an unending thing? How it could ruin your life and never go away? How you can't even sit anymore? Because people see you next to a love seat and wonder. Do you see how insane that is? A lie that we know is a lie, but we'll work our way to figure out how we can make it true, you know? So just please, I mean, look, we watched the debate and it was everything from a little bit boring at times to thrilling. We shouldn't even be debating like this anymore, to be honest with you. We've ruined the debate. The debate is too much like a chess game now, where it's like 90 seconds, 90 seconds, make your move, make your move. That's not how you solve problems. When you go back before debates were televised, the people that showed up were willing to be there for hours. And the candidates had a long time to lay out their position. So there actually wasn't as much of a chance to fully dodge questions, because they were like, what are you gonna do about immigration? And you have until you figure it out. But when it's 90 seconds, you can be like, what are you gonna do about immigration? Well, I believe is time up yet? No, they used to take forever, because that's as long as it takes to figure out a problem. And it's as long as it takes to figure out what someone's real piece on something is, you know? If you could figure out big problems in 90 seconds, we probably wouldn't have any, you know? So just watching this thing of like, and then, it feels crazy. It makes me feel crazy, because I'm like, yeah, that's not gonna work. They're not gonna make us feel like they have a plan in 90 seconds, you know? And there's too much of an opportunity to get derailed, you know? There was one point where it felt like maybe the only time in the debate where Kamala seemed a little angry. There was only one point, and I don't even remember exactly what led up to it, but she basically was talking about how Trump, which I forgot this happened, because when you live in like a 24-hour, 36-hour news cycle, everything is just sort of going, and there's no time to latch on to anything that matters, and there's no time for like real nuance of an issue. You're just going and going and going. But he did invite the Taliban to Camp David. And I remember when that happened being like, aren't they not supposed to be? The Taliban. Okay. And I remember that moment distinctly, because out of nowhere, Kamala turned to Trump and said, this. And you can tell she's trying to find a word that won't get bleeped. And I know it because she had to reset. She actually closed her eyes for a second. This. Once again, as someone who was raised by black women, anytime my mama looked at me and went, you. In her mind, she killed me. You know, in her mind, my life flashed before her eyes. She would come back. This former president. All right, that one will work. You know, she pointed out something that we all saw. We just didn't seem to remember, or maybe it wasn't that big of a deal at the time, you know. it's important to remember that we're not like just playing teams. It feels very much like teams, which I think is why so many people are like dug in, and no matter what happens, they're like, I'm not switching teams. But this is not a game, and we're not chess pieces. You know, it's very important. You register to vote. It's very important that you go vote and everything, because it's not going to be won by memes. You know, you can't like internet your way to fixing everything. You know, because I don't know. I don't know how everyone in this room feels or anyone watching feels. I just know that like I just want to feel comfortable with who is representing me out in the world and in front of the country. I want someone who is willing to maybe move a little bit like I would move. Maybe play chess the way I play chess. And I'm not even good at chess. You know? I just, you know, we all, everyone, no matter where you fall on party lines or anything, everybody wants somebody with a plan. And they asked them. They asked him, it's you want to repeal and replace Obamacare, and you say that you have a plan. We're asking right now, what is your plan and how would you enact it? And he didn't answer the first time. But when they asked again, they were like, after 9 years, what is your plan to repeal and replace Obamacare? Because I need to be clear here that like, if something is a good idea, a really good idea, I don't care what party it comes from. If something is a smart idea, because I am not playing teams, because I don't feel like this is a game. This feels very real. The things that get said in a presidential debate that are funny, that are a joke for a little while, lead to death threats and bomb threats in real life. All of this is real. So if somebody has a plan and it's a good plan, not only will I hear it out, I might even help them try to make it happen, because it helps a lot of people and it gets us somewhere, right? And so they asked him, after 9 years trying to repeal and replace Obamacare, what is your plan? And he was like, look, I have concepts of a plan. I'm starting to feel like if he had repealed and replaced Obamacare back when he was president, not only would we not have health care, but I'm pretty sure our doctors would shoot us.